Have you ever wondered why some nations seem to just, I don't know, practically print innovation, while others are constantly struggling to catch up? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely decode the invisible infrastructure of global success. And the best part? We'll show you exactly how to take those massive superpower level engines of prosperity and apply them directly to your own life. Let's get right into it.
So here's a foundational question for us. Is progress, whether we're talking about a whole country or just you personally, is it just a lucky magic trick, or is it a reproducible operating system that literally anyone can install? Well, based on the sources we're digging into today, it is absolutely not magic. Progress is an ecosystem. It's a comprehensive operating system built on a very specific set of rules, behaviors, and structures. And you know what the true beauty of an OS is, right? Once you understand the underlying code, you can just download it and run it yourself. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the American operating system, then the engines of global supremacy, followed by sustaining the 21st century. After that, we'll break down the national success blueprint, and finally, we'll bring it all home with the microstate strategy. Starting off with part 1, the American operating system and the historical foundations of hegemony. Okay, so this U.S. advantage, it definitely wasn't built overnight. Back in the 18th century, geography was basically the ultimate moat. Having the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans on either side offered this incredible strategic isolation, letting the nation grow quietly without those draining, constant wars that were tearing Europe apart. By 1789, constitutional stability created a legal framework that fiercely protected private property, which, is a massive magnet for investment. Then, boom, the 1940s hit. Following World War II, while Europe's infrastructure was in ruins, the U.S. emerged with its industrial capacity literally doubled. That culminated in the Bretton Woods system, which locked in the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. And that financial grip, that laid the exact groundwork for the 21st century's massive leap into big tech and AI. Moving right along to part 2, engines of global supremacy, let's look at the hidden infrastructure of innovation. Now, this is fascinating. The American financial system has this wild, incredible willingness to just absorb failure. Venture capitalists will back 10 different startups fully expecting, completely banking on the fact that 90% of them are going to fail and burn through cash. It sounds crazy, right? But continuous technological progress actually requires money that is completely ready to take massive risks, because that remaining 10%, that is the one success that totally revolutionizes the global market and creates the tech giants we see today. And when we think about defense budgets, we usually picture tanks, fighter jets, maybe submarines. But agencies like DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, they're actually massive incubators for the future. I mean, the internet you're using right now, the GPS in your phone, the touchscreen you're probably tapping, all of these were birthed from federal defense budgets that funded universities and private tech firms. So massive defense spending actually doubles as this hidden engine for civilian tech revolutions. We're talking innovations that go on to generate trillions of dollars. Then there's the sociological engine, which is just incredible. It's called the frontier thesis. You see, while a lot of traditional cultures view business bankruptcy as this deep, lasting shame, the American frontier mindset completely reframes it. Bankruptcy and having to start all over again, they're actually seen as authentic parts of the entrepreneurial journey, a badge of honor even. Failure isn't some terrible social stigma. It's just a necessary step for entrepreneurs who are pushing out into the unknown. When you remove that social terror of failing, you massively lower the barrier to innovation. That brings us to part 3, sustaining the 21st century and the pillars of perpetual dominance. So how do you actually keep the lead once you've got it? Well, today, wealth isn't just oil, it's data. Who owns the physical undersea cables and the massive cloud servers that the entire global economy runs on? Big tech. Culturally, you've got Hollywood acting as this incredible global soft power, exporting the American dream and making people all over the world voluntary consumers of that lifestyle. Financially, since oil and goods are priced in dollars and global money transfers run on networks like SWIFT, the U.S. has this unique ability to put pressure on other economies without ever deploying a single soldier. And finally, demographics. While major powers in Europe and Asia are facing shrinking, aging populations, continuous immigration provides a constant stream of young, ambitious labor and fresh consumers. And here is a concept you really need to understand: creative destruction. Instead of fiercely protecting outdated legacy industries just to save old jobs, this operating system tolerates, even encourages, massive disruption. It actively dismantles the old stuff, like traditional combustion engines or coal, to literally pave the way for renewables and cutting-edge tech. It allows new startups to come in and completely upend old markets. And honestly, that is exactly why the system is able to stay one step ahead globally.
All right, on to part 4, the National Success Blueprint. How can any nation replicate this success?
Okay, so how does a developing nation actually replicate this massive success without just blindly copying everything? Well, the sources lay out a universal blueprint for national prosperity, broken down into 5 distinct steps that turn a state into a true growth platform. First up, strict meritocracy, because no nation advances if opportunities are just handed out through nepotism, right? Second, the rule of law. As the sources point out, capital is cowardly. Money, both foreign and local, will only invest where an independent judiciary actually protects property and ideas. Third, a pivot to critical education. Schools have got to stop acting like tape recorders just memorizing facts. They need to teach critical thinking and problem solving that ties directly to what industries actually need. Fourth, kill bureaucracy. You have to make it easy to start and fail at a business without getting crushed by endless red tape. And fifth, aggressively invest in human capital.
And speaking of investing in human capital, the sources actually suggest a hybrid approach here. They point to balancing the intense market dynamism of the US with the strong social safety nets you see in the Nordic model. This ensures that citizens are both healthy and highly productive. The core idea is that a sick or uneducated citizen simply cannot be an effective gear in the wheel of progress. So providing foundational healthcare and education, that's not just a nice social good, it is a hardcore economic imperative that props up a highly competitive, free market private sector.
And finally, part 5, the micro-state strategy. This is all about installing the OS in your own life.
Okay, this is my absolute favorite part. Let's completely zoom in and apply this exact macro framework directly to you as an ambitious individual. Because ultimately, what are nations? They're just collections of individuals. We're talking about the concept of micro-governance. This is a mindset where you start treating your own career, your time, and your resources with the exact same strategic rigor as a small nation. Imagine you are the president, the central bank, and the Defense Department of your own life. Let's look at how to map the secrets of a superpower directly onto your daily routine.
Just think about it for a second. Just like a nation fiercely protects its intellectual property using the rule of law, you must aggressively protect your personal boundaries and say no to distractions. Your time and your energy, that is your national wealth. If a country just let anyone wander across its borders and take its resources, it would collapse. It's the exact same for us. If you don't build a strict internal legal system to protect your focus from random side quests and energy drains, your personal productivity is going to plummet. Notice how perfectly these macro advantages translate directly to your life. Instead of waiting for a system to reward you, impose your own meritocracy by building undeniable, deep, methodological knowledge in a very specific niche. To fight your own internal bureaucracy, which, let's be honest, usually just shows up as procrastination, you need to use agile execution. Break those massive, terrifying projects into tiny, manageable daily tasks. And just as a successful state heavily invests in human capital, you have to proactively invest in your own health, your diet, and your sleep. You are the literal machine producing the success. If you break down, the whole shebang stops. Finally, continuously update your personal education. Integrate the latest tech, and pivot from just being a passive consumer of information to an active analytical thinker.
And please, remember this. Just like those venture capitalists we talked about, you have got to enthusiastically reframe your own failures. Start treating your rough drafts and early mistakes not as personal setbacks, but as vital, agile steps toward innovation. Borrow that American frontier thesis mindset. Don't sit around waiting for absolute perfection before you launch a project. Get that messy first draft out there quickly, test it, fail fast, and iterate. Your personal failures aren't some permanent, shameful mark on your record. They're literally just data points helping you find that 10x success. So, to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Which of these concepts are you going to install today to start architecting your own century of success? Are you going to build stronger borders around your time? Maybe start investing in your human capital by actually getting better rest. Or are you ready to embrace creative destruction and tear down an old comfortable habit to build a better one? The operating system is sitting right here in front of you. It is time to hit install.